Live from the Chase Bank Auditorium in downtown Oslo, Norway, it's Hinamatsuri Weekly. I'm your host, Scott, and joining me this week, as always, is Brandon and Eric. Welcome to the first episode.
Yay! Woo! I love the Slapdash Saboteurs! Yay!
Alright, hello and welcome to the first episode of a weekly podcast that we're going to keep up with about Hinamatsuri.
Yeah, I gotta keep up with.
Yeah, we are. Every week we're going to come out with excellent content around the episode of Hinamatsuri that comes out. We're going to analyze the episode, we're going to react to the episode, share our funny bits, what works, what doesn't work. And I don't know about you guys, but I am pretty excited about this show and about this series.
Same. I am a big fan of Hinamatsuri because I've read the manga, one of the few mangas I've read, and I was ready for it to come out, and then so it was Studio Feel, so we got feelings about that, Lamau.
Yeah.
And
Mixed feelings, to be clear.
I'm a big fan of Studio Field's other work, and Listen to Me Girls, I'm Your Father.
Yeah, and
Listen to Me
Kiss
Girls,
This.
Your Father is a masterpiece.
Yeah, Studio Feel sure has a great arsenal. They love their pseudo-incest.
They have
They did do Tsukigakiri, which was a really good show that had horrible production and should have had a better studio with it.
Well, if the studio...
They're doing Hinamatsuri now, and spoilers, they should have a better studio doing it.
Well, if the first 30 seconds of this and their background in pseudo-incest means anything, I think Hinamatsuri is going to go down a road that I didn't expect. Anyway.
God damn it, Eric. God damn it.
Listen, man. All I'm saying is that I actually didn't know about the time skip.
They did Snafu.
Oh yeah, they did Snafu
Yeah,
season
they did
2.
the
The one that was bad.
Snafu, which is horribly ugly to look at.
The horrible one
They
that
also
ruins
did
the characters.
Kiss
yeah.
X Sis, Maya
Yeah.
Shiki. Oh my god, they did Yosugi no Sora.
Yeah, so Studio Field, I think this is going to be their sparkling gem.
Degassi Casey.
I think this is going to be the one that makes people
Oh my
like
God.
Studio Field. Because thus far they don't have a great track record. So I don't know how they got a hold of this.
Studio's amazing.
So the one show they've got that people like is Tsukigakiri.
Fucking Goshu AI.
And people like Snafu, obviously, but generally
but
everyone agrees that the second season sucks for production.
Wait, guys, they did Bikini Warriors.
Alright,
A
so
true classic.
anyways, let's get back on topic. So we are talking about Hinamatsuri, which, for anyone joining us, is an anime airing in the season of spring in 2018, although it still very much feels like winter. The plot of it, according to Mal, is that one night, a strange object falls in the head of Nita, a member of the Yakuza, and you can read the rest on Mal.
Hey, can we take a step back as to how you just started talking about the weather? I'm not at work, Scott. I don't need this every day of my life, even on the weekend. I don't need this. Yeah, but it's a pretty simple premise, and the show kind of just jumps right in, which the manga does too, but it says a lot of...
the show jumps even more in, since they do a time skip.
It does jump 3 years in, and that's probably the only complaint that I have.
Wait, it jumped 3
It's
years
definitely
in.
so it can start with an action scene.
Yeah, it is, but please don't do that. Like, it's so clear from the directing of the show, like with its quick cuts and lack of explanations, that it's going for a comedy over a drama. Like, they don't need to start with an action scene. Set the tone
there was a
with the
3-year
comedy.
skip?
Yeah, that was the first 30 seconds.
Did I miss something?
The first 30 seconds.
Yeah, the first 30
the
seconds
first 30
are the
seconds is 3
fighting
years
scene.
ahead, and then it's back
Yeah.
in time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's dumb.
Fucking dumb. It's really dumb. Why do they do that? I didn't even know there was a time skip. There's so much content to cover in the manga. I don't know how long this is going to run. But apparently
It's
for
12
like...
episodes.
Yeah, there's no way they're getting that far. Unless they've just burned through manga content.
Well, they have definitely so far burned through manga content.
Yeah, that's true.
It's been a while since I read the beginning, but I don't think... Because this episode starts with the main girl shows up, Hina, and she meets Nita, who's the main guy, who's the Yakuza, and like they go through their introduction, the first like job they do, and then the first like fight they have with other Yakuza, and that's like, as far as I remember, like a good amount of chapters.
Is it? I thought the first one was just super long and like lasted
I
a
mean, I
while.
could be entirely wrong. I honestly won't be surprised either way.
It has definitely been years for me. I don't know how long it's been for you, but
It's been like half a year. No, like 3/4 a year.
gotcha. Read this a long time ago. Also, I'm very surprised that you read a manga, Scott.
True.
How many?
Look at his mouth.
Alright, so the only reason I read this, right, was because the anime was... No, this was before... I don't know. Well, anyways, it was some point, people called this a show that was... Or a manga that was like Gintama, and therefore I decided to read it.
Gintama
it's not really at all like Gintama at all, so that was a really dumb comparison, but I love it, so it's good.
That's all it took. Gintama is the greatest anime of all time, so
true.
That makes sense.
And has a great manga.
Yeah, but so far, I laughed my ass off this first episode. I was laughing out loud at some parts. They know what they're doing.
I'd like to start off by saying he was way too nice to be a Yakuza.
Brandon, the modern Yakuza are a completely different beast from the days of yore. It takes cunning, it takes smarts, and it doesn't take running with guns or big muscles.
Or vases.
Yeah, who the fuck collects vases?
And then someone breaks his collection, and he's barely mad about it. He gets over it in like a minute.
Yeah,
it's definitely several, like, thousands of dollars.
It's, like hundreds of millions of yen.
Which in real money is like hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Excuse me. Right, like hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yeah, but it actually like super annoys me.
Yeah, a million yen's 10 grand.
Oh, okay. Well, like generally, like humor around ruining someone's livelihood usually just pisses me off. I was able to mostly look by it here, but like, come on, man. That was he loved those. Those were his life.
See, I think it works because Hina's just such a slouch. Right? She's like entirely useless, other than when she uses her powers as a human being, and therefore you just kind of like can't. It's too much to comprehend to get real mad at her.
I mean, I'd probably be pretty mad if within 3 seconds of me meeting someone, they literally destroy my entire collection, and then in the next 2 days,
she was there the whole night. You met her the night before.
Yeah. Also, she was blackmailing him. He realized pretty quickly with his Yakuza smarts that she could just kill him. He's right next to a window on like the 50th floor of a building.
Yeah.
Did she even kill anyone in that scene?
No.
Yeah, she throws people at like the 3rd floor and they're just like hurt. Right.
Sidebar. I don't know what you guys' subs were for that, but on mine they were ouchie when the Yakuza got thrown out the window. Yeah, that is so fucking perfect. Oh my god. The subs are on point.
Not as on point though as the subs on the manga, am I right?
Yeah, because manga you get to consume the jokes however fast you want, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, but Norway Scans was the meme.
Norway Scans was very good. They did some good things there.
Speaking of comparisons, I'm gonna say that this show is not as good as the manga was.
Yeah,
and the animation's kind of bad.
Well, besides the animation being janky and a lot of times really simplistic and ugly. The pacing of the show itself is kind of... A lot of times it doesn't seem to rest on where the jokes are good. It just kind of bounces from one to the other, so the jokes that aren't that important or that funny get as much time as the ones that aren't. Right. Or that are type thing. Whereas in the manga, you can kind of read it as you go, and it seems to work better, I think.
Yeah, in manga, you have control over the pace of the jokes and the pace of you have control over the pace of the manga.
But like I'm just trying to say that their skills at adapting were not on piece because it's just like straight adaptation, but that makes it not as good.
Like they pulled out the "this green tea is delicious" joke twice, and it wasn't funny either time. I don't know.
See, I thought that was one of the jokes.
Hear me out. I thought it was.
I found it kind of funny the second time.
Yeah, I liked it because I thought that was like one of the small like side background conversations in the manga, and that's kind of how it was there. But they also put a bit more focus on it, which I think wasn't necessary. That's true.
I definitely do like the subtle stuff that they kept in. Like the bottle of, quote, sports drink, unquote, is clearly just water.
But also, I think that's a Japanese thing. They have like puckery and sports drink.
It's just water. Also, in math class, there was a graph on the board that was just a picture of a scary face with a bunch of shapes. They did some good stuff that I remember back from the manga being good at.
Also, this episode was bad because Best Girl Anzu hasn't even shown up yet.
Right? I'm glad you're in agreement here. That's the biggest thing I remember.
This is a cult, by the way.
It is a cult?
If you don't support Anzu, like, we have to kill you.
Oh, I am full on board.
I've never heard of Anzu.
So if you're watching right now and you don't support Anzu, please leave.
Yeah, come on,
How
Brandon.
can they support
Also, I really hope
Anzu?
I'm pronouncing your
He
name
hasn't
wrong,
been in-
so if someone does support her, I piss them off.
Anzu completely changed my mind about homeless people.
are you
They're
sure it's-
heroes.
Anzu and Inari and Oku are the best.
Homeless people are heroes. That's what I've learned.
Yeah, but actually,
Yeah. Do you know how much work it takes to collect cans? Fuck, I'm excited for that to show up.
How do you
Oh,
pronounce the main character's name?
Nita?
Nita, yeah.
Nita? Alright. Why does it have 2 T's?
Because he Nita T in there.
Because, that's how Japanese spell things. With
That's
normal
not how
letters.
Japanese
Yeah.
work. They don't
Yeah,
have a
you
friggin'
don't-
they don't have a
You
symbol
don't
for
remember
T.
the symbol for T?
They don't have that.
Perfect.
You don't remember the symbol that adds a T to the end of a knee?
It
No, I
blew my
don't.
mind recently. It blew my mind recently when I learned that all Japanese words end with an N or a vowel. I just hadn't thought about it before, but it just changed my entire perspective on the language. I thought for like hours about a word that didn't. There aren't any.
Yeah, but also, all Japanese words don't end in either because they don't have those.
Words?
No, they don't,
They don't have words?
ends in vowels. They have the symbols.
You got
Pretty
me.
sure it's just a symbol for M or something that kind of ruins your whole end with a vowel or N thing.
What are you talking about?
Like there are
No way.
several one letter symbols and I think katakana. This is off
No,
topic.
it's the sounds that matter. Anyway, it's the pronunciation. At least I don't collect fucking vases, though. It's always that. At least I'll always have that. Also, so how did Hina understand what going to school would be from the messages on the TV about why scandals at schools?
I think
I
I
There's
don't,
something
thi-
missing
I
here.
don't think
she's
she's
just been watching
retarded,
a ton of
Eric.
TV.
She probably just
Gotcha.
knows what school is.
I guess she actually did come from a place that existed, so never mind.
Like,
Whoops.
probably just
I forget
heard
that
this nice
sometimes.
story about embezzlement. It's like, oh yeah, school sounds fun.
Embezzlement does sound like fun. That's true.
That's another thing with this adaptation. The whole backstory is kind of really vague because the flash forward makes me as if I was going with no idea what happens. The flash forward makes me think, all right, there's something going on. There's some story that she's looking for this girl Hina, and then it flashes back, and this girl shows up out of nowhere, and she references the fact that she's killed people or she's been forced to kill people, and she follows
Right.
orders. So you're like, what's going on here? But there's nothing makes sense there.
Yeah, it definitely takes away from again the strong point of the series being the comedy. It tries to dive into something else instead of starting with comedy and building off of that into a more deep plot.
Is it really a flash forward if that's where you started?
Oh, yeah, it's a thing. There's some term for it. I don't remember. But,
Sorry, that was
why?
a strange thing to ask.
Huh?
That was our daily Brandon meme. Hallelujah.
Daily Brandon meme number one.
Oh my god, that meme been beaten to death at this point.
If any of you are watching from Animemes, please leave.
Yeah. Wee woo. It's the lollies. Get out of our podcast. Yeah,
Oh
but
my god, they're still
I'm
doing it.
Also, if any of you have watched till this point, high five.
Hallelujah. Yeah, but in other news, it's pretty clear that the big themes in the manga and what are going to be big themes in the anime are raising children and the dynamics of growing up and what it means to be an adult. Which led to one of the it didn't lead to. Reminds me of one of the funniest jokes in the "I'm a woman now." No, you're not. Holy shit. With the roll on the side of her fucking mouth. That was perfect. The music didn't do anything different. Oh boy. That was perfect. Yeah, but obviously it's about raising a kid, and they just add in supernatural stuff because the point of sci-fi themes is to draw comparisons to the real world, changing a couple things.
I'm kind of hoping
There's
they
also,
explain
I
a
feel
bit more in the next episode, or they I feel like there should either have been more comedy in this episode or more exposition.
Well, again, that's what I'm saying though, is that the fact that they jump in shows that it should be a comedy, but it just completely sets the tone wrong from the start with the flash forward action scene.
Yeah, because is it supposed to be like a slice of life, or is it
Yeah.
supposed to be some type of sci-fi
Yeah, it is.
show? Or show, yeah, show.
It's a slice of life sci-fi show.
Yeah, most of the ongoing plots are like the things like the presidency and stuff. So those are more fun to focus on.
Yeah. Ending song, pretty good, pretty typical. I don't know.
I didn't
Did what
listen
it
to
needs
it.
to do. I did because I thought, man, I should be an expert on this.
Also, wasn't there an after credit scene?
Yeah, the after credit scene of
there
him
was
getting
that. I
stuck.
did see
The
that.
Terminator joke. Oh god, the Terminator joke at the end. That killed me just because of the music that they put in. The superhero fucking Pacific Rim, ba 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 ba, and then he gets. Oh man.
Talking about beep. Shout out to Japanese copyright laws and being dumb.
Yeah, I don't really understand them. I mean, American copyright laws aren't simple either, but I've been handling.
At least you can legally show Obama's face in things in America.
That is nice. All I'm saying
it's fucking the JoJo copyrights with all the fucking band names. So we get things like Shining
Right.
Diamond or Deadly Queen.
And
then
Steely
they
Dan is
fucking-
my favorite.
I don't understand how that affects copyrights because they literally say like Killer Queen,
Yeah,
and then
but
they
they just change the subs.
They just change the subtitle. It's like, come
Yeah.
on.
Steely Dan. Yeah, but these subs are doing a good job.
The
Basically what we're
ouchies.
saying is we should all be anarchists and assassinate Archduke Franz Ferdinand.
But Scott, this show is clearly like pushing a capitalist agenda. See,
I got very communist vibes from this.
Well, see,
As
his
he
life
took
isn't
from the rich
fulfilled,
and destroyed
but he
it.
thinks it is. Right? He thinks his life's fulfilled by the money and the vases, but really, it's the love of a daughter. Specifically, the one he doesn't get, Anzu, that is what he really wants.
It's the love of Anzu. But for real though, like Nita's whole thing that he's pushing this first episode is that you get rewards equal to the work that you do. What the hell? That's pushing a pro-capitalist agenda.
Yeah, that should be illegal.
That should
They
be
only
illegal.
Be able to promote anarcho-syndicalism.
Yeah. Also, Hina's smile was creepy as shit. Holy cow.
She smiled.
Yeah, she's like, it's a close-in on her mouth when she smiles when they're in the car right before she goes into throw people out the window.
Everyone.
Yeah, to ouchie everyone. Right before she ouchies everyone, she smiles and it's creepy as shit.
Yeah,
It looks-
the fact that the art is pretty bad makes
Yeah.
everyone definitely look like creepier.
Right. It actually reminded me a lot of like a Shaft freeze frame for
Yeah.
a second, just with that angle on the face and the smile.
Why isn't Shaft adapting this?
I wish. Shaft would do a great job with this.
This show really hasn't kept up to the animation hasn't kept to the standards that the studio feels set in Listen to Me Girls, I'm Your Father.
Yeah, I'm really not getting the same passion that I did from all the kiss sis scenes.
Kiss X scenes. Yep.
Yeah. So you say I don't say the X in cis, but I do in Hunter X Hunter, because in Hunter X Hunter it's capital.
Oh fuck, I had to put
But it's
Kiss
Hunter
X
x
on Mal.
Ooh. I don't update Mal as I go, but I probably should. Yeah, but this author though, the author of the manga, like everything that he writes is sci-fi, so I guess it's just what he loves. Like, but this is his first real slice of life of the lot of. Well, that's not entirely true. He did one that's like a zany supernatural neighborhood of Japan, which sounds a lot like Durarara to me, but I haven't actually read it. Like, he's a big fan of sci-fi, but it's his first attempt at slice of life.
So I know, looking through the director's works on Mal, not great.
Ooh, what do we got? What do we got?
We got the second season of Orimo, not Orimo, why did I say Orimo? Snafu.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought Orimo. We got some stuff on Kiss X Sis, Kitty Girl, and
Oh.
wait, is that? Wait, he did actually work on Orimo. What the frick? I just said that by mistake. He did work on Orimo.
Legendary. Again, he really appears to love incest. I don't know.
I
That's
have
pretty
high
cool.
hopes for this.
I have very incestual hopes for this, apparently.
They
The
actually
direction-
adapt a lot of the not super popular, but the somewhat popular harem mangas, like fucking Mayochiki and fucking Kiss X's.
They're
Oh
grunge.
my god.
This world's not ready for their tastes.
Because I don't want them to adapt harem anime. I want them to adapt a good animation.
Scott, what do you have against harems?
If they look like trash, I don't care.
You can feel it's quantity over quality. That's all I'm saying. As long as I'm surrounded by things that don't have to be good, keep the loneliness away. Fuck. I just thought about the I'm a Woman Now scene again. It's so good. Yeah, I'm really mad about that flash forward, but I mean, the episode made me laugh at a few times. It was dull a couple other times, but that's fine. Like, I have nostalgia about the manga, so that made my experience better. How do you guys feel about the, Oh, go for it.
I've never read the manga, so the only thing I'm going to get from Hinamatsuri is what Studio Feel brings.
Hey, Brandon, I thought you were the manga guy. I thought you always complained about not having good manga.
I only read trash manga.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair. Because this is
excellent.
excellent.
Refuses 20th Century Boys. Like, what's he doing?
I refuse to read 20th Century Boys. I'll never read that.
There's a
Just
lot of
because you
quality
want me
content.
to.
This isn't
It'll
a
give
thing
me a
about winning or
headache.
losing. Alright,
Well, anything will give you a headache right now.
That's
you broke
true.
Your glasses.
yeah, you broke your glasses again, which happens every few months.
Yes,
which
the
we
glasses that I have.
We convinced Brian that you break your glasses every few months, and that's why you're getting headaches.
If you guys don't know Brian is the worst Dota player on the East Coast.
Yeah, but he's a nice guy, and he's not the worst. He's just
Yeah,
not that good.
Emphas. I forgot.
Yeah, Emphas a terrible kid. Oof. Yeah, but how do you guys feel
Also,
about the...
Brian or Info, if you're watching, get up.
If you're watching, please stay. Please don't leave. Please. We need these. Yeah, but how do you guys feel about the white borders as outlines? Not borders, but they outline like shapes and hair in white instead of like typical black. I kind of like it over doing black just because like it makes the characters stand out more but doesn't push them away from the background as much as a black outline would. But also if they right.
I think it tracks to the fact that the art is pretty ugly.
Yeah, it's pretty ugly. Like, you could definitely, instead of needing to outline them in white, like the hair in white, you could just, like, draw it sharper and clearer. But,
and better.
Yeah.
I could also say by art, I mainly mean, like, animation. Right? Because the art in the manga isn't great, but it's kind of got a fun thing to it. Plus, it's not constantly moving, so it doesn't look ugly.
Yeah.
Whereas the animation, this is kind of low quality.
I mean, honestly, I thought it was kind of bad. If you just look at the still frames, I thought it looked worse than it looks in motion.
I didn't really pause it, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I wasn't clicking through and
kinda,
what the frick are you doing? What are you doing, you weirdo?
See, Brandon only reads manga, so he just freeze frames every frame. He actually refuses to watch anime, and if he does that, it's like he's reading in color. It works perfectly. So when we asked him to watch this episode for the podcast, he was hesitant because he knew it would take 4 hours.
Yeah, that's why I was hesitant.
Yeah, and not because it's probably gonna kill you.
Yep, I am going blind in my right eye, and my left is starting to go.
As long as you can keep talking.
Well, I won't be able to
You're gonna keep
watch,
doing
is the problem.
Alright, Scott and I will reenact it for you.
I don't see how that helps, because I can't watch you guys reenact.
We'll reenact it with our voices.
Yeah.
Braille.
It's in Japanese.
We'll deal with the dub then, Brandon, because I'm not
There's no
learning
dub!
movements. No, that's what we're saying, is we'll make the dub with our mouths.
Yeah, but also, like, not joking, there is a simul dub of this coming.
What
That's
the
gonna be a couple weeks behind or something.
That's
Yeah.
not a simuldub.
It's pretty close.
It's a simul dub. A semi-simul.
Honestly,
Semi-simul
simuldubs
dub.
should be more common. Friggin' Dragon Ball Super is like 70 episodes ahead or behind, and it's the English dub's behind the friggin' or the Spanish dub. It's infuriating.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, you can kind of tell what shows are like expected to be a big deal by what gets a simul dub and what doesn't.
How is Dragon Ball
fancy.
Super not expected to be a big deal?
Yeah,
don't
no,
think
they
you can
definitely
find-
like screwed the pooch on that one.
Like, I would wager that's the most popular anime in the West.
It definitely should have a simul dub because of how much of an American audience it has.
Like,
They've
how
also-
made
they did
they,
the Spanish dub because it actually has a bigger Spanish audience, so easy.
That is
they
true.
tried to actually show the final episode of Dragon Ball Super in town squares in Mexico.
Yep.
Why do they
And
love
then
it so
the
much?
Japanese
the
government
government
told
of Japan
them to
said, "Don't do
stop.
What is it about Mexican values that makes them love Dragon Ball so much?
Well, you
Yeah,
see,
like-
it's about a kind-hearted guy who comes from nothing and then goes and saves the world. That's every Mexican stereotype ever.
There's nobody playing in a mariachi band in that show.
We're going to build a wall and make Dragon Ball Z pay for it.
It has the money. Well, it would have if it made a simuldub.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Alright, so I guess we're about done with this episode. So
Should have
if
probably
we
done
want,
like
if we
10
want to
minutes
say
ago.
any like thoughts for the series going forward or something, and then wrap it up.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm gonna have a fun time watching this. You know, it's got some good goofs, it's got some good spoofs. Sure, it's got its flaws, namely its animation, and had some tone problems here. But like, it's done a good job. It's the source material is just too good for me not to like it.
I hope it brings that same studio feel I've come to expect. Studio feel I've come to expect from their other works. And I hope it exceeds my expectations.
That's not gonna take much.
I hope that it gets kind of better, because so far I'm kind of disappointed having read the manga. I feel like I'm clouding it in thoughts of the manga, but I think it can go somewhere better.
Yeah.
So
Anyway.
Overall, 0 out of 10.
Overall, 1 out of 12.
37 out of 64. It's really impressive how they make
So
so
that's an
much
average of
trash
7 out of 10
anime
overall.
that I have heard of all of these trash harem animes they've made, but I don't think anyone's ever seen them.
That's how they deal with it. That's how they get their infamy. They're big lawyers taking hard cases. But yeah, this has been the Slapdash Saboteurs. This has been our first episode of our Hinamatsuri weekly series. We'll see you guys next week.
If you got anything to say, tell us to screw off in the comments.
Yeah, we're more than happy to start a comment war in the comments.
Who
Anyway.
knows? You could even be a special guest. You won't be.
As long as you agree with Anzu being life, we don't have a problem. Yeah, I've been Eric.
I've been Scott.
I'm Brandon.
David, have you been?
What were you before?
No,
Yeah.
I'm Brandon now.